What's going on? My name is Steph. This is my channel, Mountain High Life, and welcome to my 4-part mini-series, the High Lonesome Solo Recon Runs. If you didn't know, I will be running the High Lonesome 100 here Friday, July 18th, 2025, and there's a strong possibility that by the time these videos go up, I will have hopefully completed the effort, but I did want to share a bit of my experience getting familiar with the course and a little bit of the training and what has made the build up to this race so special. All videos included in this mini series will be linked in the description down below if you care to check any of them out. And if you happen to like this video or any other videos within the series, or you don't want to miss my race video, consider subscribing so that way you'll hopefully be able to catch it all. Now, before we get into part 2 of my High Lonesome Solo Recon Run mini series, I do want to preface that back in May, I went and I ran a section of the High Lonesome course, which is actually the last roughly 15 miles that will be run of the course on trail. That does have its own video, but it is separate from some of the videos that I'm going to be showing in parts 2, 3, and 4 of my mini series. So if you want to go check that out, again, linked down below. But at the time of filming that video back in May, I had no idea I was actually going to end up doing a mini recon series. So I did just want to let you know that there is another video kind of within this recon runs that I've been doing that just wasn't really a part of this weekend, but it does show a little bit extra of the trail. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, for this particular adventure, it was day 1 of a 3-day weekend of running, where I was scoping out 3 different sections of the High Lonesome course. Thursday night, I drove roughly 3.5 hours to my hotel and woke up pretty early on Friday to get a decently early start. And leading up to this day, I have been doing a lot of traveling every weekend to get some long runs in, and one of the things that I had learned was trying to wake up really early the day after traveling, 3-4 hours the evening before. It just wasn't conducive for a great run the following day. I felt really tired from travel and a little stiff, and I think the mental idea of having to get up and run quite a bit the following day just made it very unappealing. So my thought was, with this particular run, it was a great opportunity for me to get the first big climb of the High Lonesome course out of the way, get acclimated to moving and fueling and just working pretty hard at altitude, and also the opportunity to not have to wake up super early to do a really long run, instead something a bit more moderate at 16 miles. And for this particular adventure, I did an out and back where I would climb the first considerable climb of the High Lonesome course, like I mentioned, which brings you up to over 13,000 feet at the Antero Pass. But to me, just climbing up to the saddle of a mountain pass didn't sound super fun, so I thought it would be a little bit more fun to throw the summit, of which the pass is named after, Mount Antero, a mountain that sits at 14,039 feet, into my training. And so that's what we did, a little Friday summit. My objective with this run was to move at a steady pace and getting used to, like I said, working harder, fueling at 13,000 feet, and just to wake the body and mind up for the weekend I had ahead. But before we get into today's adventure, a quick shout out to Jonji. This entire weekend I was able to stay cool and comfortable in Jonji running apparel, and on this particular day I was wearing one of my favorite pieces that they make, the Sun Chaser hoodie. This long sleeve sun hoodie boasts UPF 50, so when I'm working hard at high altitude, I don't have to worry about getting a sunburn on my shoulders. Additionally, it does have cool touch technology, which helps to keep me cool, and also is great for when I reach creek crossings. I can dunk the sleeves into water, which helps to cool me down. If you care to check out any of the apparel featured in today's video, along with any of the videos featured in this mini series, click the link in the description, use my code Mountain High Life for 10% off your order. Thank you so much to Jonji for partnering with me, believing in the channel, and making the best running apparel. Let's get into the Mount Antero run. The plan for today is to run a section of the High Lonesome course that takes place in the very kind of start, the first, I don't know, 15, 20 miles of the race. And this is going to feature the first big climb of High Lonesome, which is going to be up to Antero Pass. But instead of doing Antero Pass and dropping down and following the actual true High Lonesome course, what I'm going to be doing is instead breaking off from the High Lonesome course and summiting Mount Antero. Now, Mount Antero is a 14er, and I have never done Mount Antero, so I get to check that box off. I get to summit my first 14er of 2025, hopefully not my last, and yeah, check out a kind of sort of new to me section of trails. So I'm really excited. It's about 7:30. It was a whole thing getting here, but I made it. So I'm gonna hit the bathroom and we're gonna hop on trail and just see what this beautiful Friday has in store for us. I guess it's Browns Creek trailhead, but I'm taking the little Browns Creek approach. The trail starts at 9,000 feet, so we have 5,000 feet of climbing to hit just over 14,000 feet to summit Mount Antero. Yeah, we have a solid little bit of climbing to do, but it's really pretty nice single track back down to the car, so should be pretty fun to run down. And although I have seen this section before, I thought it'd be nice to get a 15-miler in to start the weekend. Also do a nice little summit, kind of make, not just like run a trail, like give it a little bit more purpose. I don't think that's the right word, but and also start this adventure weekend with something a little bit shorter versus traveling 4 hours last night, waking up super early, not getting a good night of sleep, and just immediately jumping into a big effort. Yeah, I thought it'd be a good little wake up, get acclimated, a little acclimated to working at like, high altitude, high alpine. But so far, I think we're 2 miles in, 1,000 some odd feet of climbing. So not too bad, but very curious to see once we get to the saddle how much further it is to the Mount Antero summit. So I guess we'll find out. Alpine, 5 miles in from the little Browns Creek trailhead, and we're about 3,000 feet of climbing into this. It's either another 2.5 to 3 miles to the summit. I suppose I'll find out, but I'm hoping to reach the summit here in the next hour, hopefully to an hour and a half, and then we'll just kind of hang out for a minute and start our descent. Overall, just feeling pretty good today, enjoying the trail. Made it to this incredible basin, and I know it'll open up a little bit, but just a gorgeous morning and feeling really lucky to be out here. As someone who films pretty much all of their content solo, I've struggled to find a way to capture not only my training and running, but also the landscape and broader picture of my time spent in the mountains, all in the same shot. And that's where the Hover Air X1 Pro Max comes in. Now I can showcase all aspects of the run all on my own in a lightweight, easy to use, smart piece of technology without compromising any part of my footage. The self-flying drone has kind of changed the filming game for me. It's lightweight, folds up small enough to stash in my running vest, and even comes with 2 batteries that can each last a full day out in the mountains, allowing me to capture every shot every time. What I love most is how easy this drone is to use. All you have to do is power it up, choose a flight mode like follow cam, orbit, or zoom out, and you can do this either on the drone itself or in the very easy to use Hover app, where you can customize each flight mode for exactly what you're looking for in any particular shot, and then the drone literally does the rest. No remote, no hassle. I don't need a crew or a tripod, just hit launch and it tracks me as I run. And this drone is insanely smart too. It avoids obstacles, adjusts angles mid-flight, and even makes me look way more professional than I actually am. For someone who's out here filming on remote trails, training for a 100-miler, and just trying to create content on the go, this drone just fits. Effortless to pack, super intuitive, and honestly, really fun to use. So if you've been wanting to capture your adventures, but don't feel like bringing an entire production kit, the Hover Air X1 Pro Max is your answer. Thank you to Hover Air for allowing me to showcase my running in the coolest and easiest way imaginable, and I am so excited to integrate the footage that I am able to capture on my Hover Air X1 Pro Max on the channel from here on out. Where Little Brown Creek intersects with the ATV Antero standard route. So I don't know, 1,000 feet of climbing, I don't know. I don't know. It's nice because the ATV road isn't super steep, so it is kind of sort of runnable, but there are some clouds starting to form. So I'm going to be mindful. Might just tap the summit and turn around depending on the clouds, but holding steady, feeling pretty good. Woo. Feeling pretty good. As I'm getting closer to the summit, it's getting a little windy, a little bit more chilly and exposed, so throwing on just like a light layer, light little windbreaker to help try to keep me warm. Summit is right over yonder, so we have just a little ways to go. Definitely won't be running like any of that, so just got to keep climbing, drinking water, and moving forward. off the summit. I am down off the saddle. I ended up talking to a hiker for a good bit. Her name was Phoenix. She's a raft guide here in Buena Vista, and she was super nice. So I just shared some time with her, shared the descent with her, which was really nice. But yeah, just kind of like a Jeep road up until you get to the last half mile of trail. And then it's a really beautiful, interesting, cool ridge walk to the summit. Sketch factor, minimal. I mean, it's exposed, but not anything. And then to the summit, it's just rocks and kind of a little route finding, but for the most part, you just make it up. Yeah, so very interesting and very rewarding. It was beautiful up there. I feel like you can pretty much see all of the High Lonesome course up there. It was kind of crazy, but I feel like for the most part, I was able to just be like, okay, climb up here, go down here, come out back here. It was fun. So I feel pretty good, and I'm glad I started the week with that. It was a little, I'm glad I started my weekend with that, but it was a little bit more vertical gain than I was expecting, about 500 feet more up to this point. So I don't know. I know I've said it in the past where I'm like, I'm at a point with my training where I'm like, the more vert, the better. I'm not mad about it. Starting to descend down into the basin, have about 6 miles more to go, give or take. All in all, been beautiful. I've done a great job with fueling today. There's been some clouds, but they've all kind of managed to kind of stay away and give me my day out here in the mountains. So thank you. So I'm just gonna descend, get the drone out for a few more shots. We'll have some fun and enjoy just some fun, hopefully flowy single track back to the car. This Morton 160. I've heard from just about everybody and their mother that this is not really that good. It really doesn't want to mix. So we're gonna try it just because that is the race drink for High Lonesome. So I just want to test it out, and then I'm gonna put some more water in my bladder reservoir, and I guess my bladder. To this little trail junction, so we are gonna hop back on the CT right here. Got about 1.5 miles left. It's definitely getting warm as I've started to descend, so the creek crossings have been nice to dip my sleeves into, but yeah, just a few minutes left. We did it! 16 miles, 4 hours, 54 minutes, and change, because I farted around a little bit up there on trail getting water and everything, and about 5,800 feet of climbing. So today was very solid. I am so stoked with how that went. I, however, have a couple things to do. I really need to change out of these clothes, drink some water, but I figure we'll catch up either tonight or tomorrow, and I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on how today's effort went, why I chose to do this trail, what it means to me and my training for High Lonesome, and if you wanted to come check it out, some recommendations. So I will see you then. So that is gonna do it. The Mount Antero run, part 2 of my High Lonesome solo recon runs. So for this run, I did 16 miles, 5,800 feet of elevation gain, and honestly, I had so much fun. I think for my training for this weekend, this was such a good, smart move for me to start with a run that offered a bit more hiking as a gentle kind of push into the weekend to wake the body and mind up without it just being, you know, a ton of miles and a crazy amount of vert to get started. And knowing I had 2 more days of running to complete after this, it was a much more preferred way instead of the undertaking of my long run. The very first thing right out the way and just being really tired for the rest of the weekend. And I really enjoyed this particular route to the summit. I don't think I mentioned it yet in the video, but this is not the actual standard route to the summit of Mount Antero. As a matter of fact, the standard route is a 4x4 or Jeep road. It's not paved. You do definitely need like 4x4 all-wheel drive, but it's really nice because you do follow Little Browns Creek up to pretty much the basin, the alpine, where you do meet the 4x4 road, but you just get to avoid kind of that more monotonous, perhaps boring 4x4 road, and you get to enjoy some incredibly beautiful single track, which I really enjoyed. Now don't get me wrong, the standard route is insanely beautiful and stunning, but it is, like I said, just on a Jeep road. So if you're looking for more of that kind of single track adventure, this is a great approach to the Mount Antero summit. For the most part, the route up to the summit was very moderate until the last maybe half mile, where things did get pretty chunky. There was a really cool ridgeline that offered some incredible views. It added just a little bit of spice to the adventure, but minimal exposure and very, very safe, nothing sketchy there. And then of course, the final approach to the summit was just tough, a lot of climbing in maybe a quarter of a mile. That was a lot of rocks and talus. So, you know, your typical 14er kind of finish or summit, I should say there, but really beautiful. I had beautiful weather this day and really just got to enjoy a section of the High Lonesome course and some views that I would not have been able to enjoy during the High Lonesome run, simply because we don't actually summit the mountain. We just follow the pass and actually run down the Jeep road to on the standard route of the Mount Antero trail. The downhill section of this was also really fun. Like I said, Little Browns Creek is very runnable, groomed for the most part, single track. So I was able to run and open up. And after a trail effort like that, I really enjoy being able to run and open my stride up because I feel like it just helps me stay loose, avoids, you know, excessive stiffness or soreness following an effort, especially one with, you know, 5,800 feet of vertical gain. So it was welcomed and I got to just stride it out, which was really fun. All in all, this was a really great way to kick off the weekend. 3 days of running different sections of the High Lonesome course, and I felt really good wrapping this up, not completely drained, not like I just went out and did a crazy effort. It was awesome, and I was able to enjoy some views, like I said, I might not have been able to catch while out on race day. So like I said earlier, if you do want to catch parts 3 and 4 of my High Lonesome solo recon runs, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again to John G for partnering with me. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear if you've done Mount Antero. What approach did you do? Are you interested in doing it? And just thoughts about the video. All that to be said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you get out on some trail today, and I will see you in part 3 of High Lonesome solo recon runs and my next adventure. Okay, bye.